Hello, my name's Simon, and welcome to another week of Warhammer Plus. If you've already watched this week's releases, then stick a comment down below and we can have a chat about it. There's not much this week, so it might not be that much to talk about, but I think there's a few good things coming in the future. Although Games Workshop being Games Workshop, we have absolutely no idea when. Now, earlier in the week, I was absolutely certain that I'd read that the Exodite trailer was dropping this Wednesday, i.e. today, and there's no sign of it. So I can only assume that either I've had a brain fart or something else has gone wrong behind the scenes. Sometimes I imagine a manager at Games Workshop, Warhammer community, upload their article telling everyone what's coming next week, and then a manager looks at it and says, seems a bit much, let's cut it back a bit, and just cuts half of it out. I think that's being a wee bit mean, but you get the drift. It always seems like things are coming and then they disappear without a trace. Let me know if I'm going mad, or if you remember the article about the Exodite trailer coming, please, because I need to know. You'll notice in honour of Angels of Death, I've retired my red LED light, and it's been replaced with a tow skin blue one. There's just over an hour of content this week, and I keep banging on about it, but it's not enough. We've got a Loremasters, a Masterclass and Deep Strike, and that's it. There's no battle report, there's no animation, nothing else. I've been trying to justify the terrible amount of content we get to myself, but I can't do it. It's piddly, there's nothing there, or hardly anything there. It just seems like every time I think it's going to knock up a notch and hit its stride, it doesn't. It actually goes backwards. I'm disappointed we didn't get a trailer for what's coming next with the animations, and I think that's why I'm a wee bit salty this week. So there's nothing else for it than to get into the reviews of the content. We've got Warhammer Vault, which is Warzone Valador, which is an apocalypse warzone, and we've got the Tyranids against the Drukhari and the Eldar, and the Eldar and the Drukhari are trying to defend the Maiden Worlds from two hive fleets. I think it's Kraken and Leviathan. So it's a really cool book. With the apocalypse stuff, I think it would really benefit from having the rules in here, because the rules are the fun part of apocalypse. It's like blast markers about this size, and you can kill 20 guys in a go. That's the fun part of apocalypse. It would have been good to see that in here, but as usual with Warhammer Vault, we don't get that. With the White Dwarves, we get 3 of them. I used to praise Warhammer Vault for being consistent, because we got one Warzone book, or one campaign book, and 4 White Dwarves. Last week we got 1 White Dwarf, and this week we get 3 White Dwarfs, so it's kind of lost its consistency a bit, and that should actually be the easy bit of this whole service, and it's not delivered, so I don't know what's happened there, but it's a wee bit disappointing, but I can't read that many White Dwarves in a week anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. Loremasters this week is all about Archaon, and he's one of the more interesting characters from the Old World and then Age of Sigmar. He's kind of the anti-Sigmar. He used to be a big fanboy of Sigmar, and then something happened and he's not anymore. I really liked this Loremasters because we got to see him from an early age, and we got to see why he turned. Well, we didn't really get to see why he turned, but it kind of brushed across it. I think if you want to see the detail of why he turned, then you will have to read the book. I really like the character Archaon, probably because he has one of the best models that has ever been created by Games Workshop. It's just fantastic. My brother painted it years ago and I just fell in love with it. I don't think you can grasp the true scale of it until you've seen it in person. I do have one criticism of this episode, and that's it's a bit short, coming in at only 23 minutes. There's a new masterclass this week, and it's all about weathering. The presenter is Aidan Daly from the Heavy Metal team rather than Louise Sugden, so I'm wondering if something's gone on behind the scenes there. It's meant to be a dual presenter role, but I thought it might go weeks about, but it doesn't appear to be doing that at the moment, so I really hope we see Louise back sometime soon. Now, the weathering tutorial kind of felt like it was half of the battle damage tutorial from last week. It even used the same miniatures, so it was like we did the battle damage ones, and then those miniatures were used for the weathering tutorial. I don't know if it was spread out or if it was always meant to be 2 different episodes, but they're quite short anyway. They're both like 12 minutes long, so they could easily have been done in 1 week, because we've had tutorials that long in the past. I'm going to be honest and say I think Aidan might be a bit too high level for my painting abilities. Louise was more on my level, like obviously a better painter, but it was something you could aspire to, whereas Aidan is that wee step above. So I'm wondering if a lot of people just think these techniques are too advanced and there's no kind of intermediate step towards them. But I don't know, maybe it's just me being a bad painter. There were a few editing mistakes in this one, like a few lines repeated a couple of times, so it kind of gave more of a YouTube feel. YouTube editors make mistakes like that all the time. It's acceptable, they're making their own content and flinging it out, but if Games Workshop are presenting these as shows, those kind of editing mistakes aren't really acceptable. Anyway, it was a great episode if you like painting with paint water and moving your brush really quickly. Now on to Deep Strike. We got one of these after the first 5 episodes of Angels of Death, and I really hoped we'd get one at the end of the series, and we did. It was fantastic. Seeing the camaraderie between the 3 presenters was great. I loved seeing them talk about the show. It was all from a Games Workshop perspective, so there was no negatives at all. That's where I'm going to come in with my review of it, but it was really good to see such enthusiastic people talking about a show that I love. I think this is what a lot of people in the comments have been asking for, just a behind the scenes look at things. They talked to the writers, they talked to the voice actors, it was fantastic, it's everything we've wanted. They talked to the Hadriel actor and he explained a bit about how he came onto the sound of his voice and how he settled on his accent and things like that. Some of his favourite lines as well, that was really good. Everyone seemed to love the bit where a servitor next to Hadriel got blown up with the rocket launcher, and then Hadriel just casually pulls out his bolter and shoots him, and then goes back to what he was doing. I really liked how the writers talked about the challenges of doing animations, so they really had to adapt their writing style so that they could get it all looking good on screen and the interactions worked and stuff like that. It was really interesting. I've never thought about that side of it before, but it must be really tough to write for animators rather than anything else. They're very clever people. I thought the writing was great through Angels of Death, so I think we're in safe hands for future things. We definitely need more of this. We need the behind the scenes stuff. We need more interviews with people that we don't normally have access to. I think that is where the value in Warhammer Plus will eventually be. That and the animations, which we don't seem to be getting. I really hope we get the Exodite soon. I hope that the fact we didn't get the trailer this week doesn't mean that it's going to be delayed for a couple of weeks, because a couple of weeks without an animation with Warhammer Plus will just be terrible. If we don't get an animation next week, I don't even know if I'll release a video, because there doesn't seem any point, especially if we don't get a Deep Strike as well, because that was the main highlight of this week. If we only get like a battle report or a Masterclass, Loremasters, there's not that much to cover. I really want an animation so that we can discuss it. I love hearing from you guys in the comments and talking about it as fans. That is the best part of doing these videos. I loved hearing that the staff got together and watched it at the same time. It just proves they are fans just like us. At one point Adam Troke said that Angels of Death was the best Warhammer we've ever had, and I would have to agree with that sentiment. I think it's fantastic. I've loved the last 10 episodes, and it looks like we're going to get a season 2 as well, which is amazing. So that's it for another week. I know there wasn't very much to talk about this week, but I did my best. Thanks very much for watching, happy hobbying, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.